Alright, so I wound up setting my composite node to overlay and changing my curvature to have a radius of 0.35, and I think that looks pretty good. I'm okay with it. So I guess that I need to clean up a little bit in here. Let's call this one Mix Curve. We'll call this one Mix Noise. Mix Noise Range. And Mix Noise Comp. Then over here, the mix shader, I'm going to call my Metal Rust Mix, and that ought to do it. Let's call this one my Metal tab. It's a great time to save your scene. And the last tab I'm going to make for the moment is going to be these little gems that are on the outside of each of the lanterns. So let's go ahead and make an AI standard surface for them. I know that in each case, let's just call this one Gem AIS. I know that in each case, the primary attribute I'm going to be focused on is transmission. So I'll go ahead and turn the transmission weight all the way up. Now I can select, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, and right-click, Assign Material to Viewport Selection. One more render. Let's try it out. And now they're looking a little more gem-like. They look too clear for me, and there are a couple of things that we can do here. First, if I go into the specular area, I can change the index of refraction. The default index of refraction is set to glass, and I'm going to recommend turning it up a little bit. Even flint glass is a little bit higher and will give you a more sparkly result. If you want to be super fancy, you can go sapphire, you can go diamond. Whatever you want to do, go ahead and mess around with the index of refraction a little bit and see if you can do something fun. The other thing that we can do is we can adjust the color, so instead of being completely clear, they refract with a color. Just as an example, we'll make them green. And now when I do this render, I should get a nice green, really sparkly gem in each one. Oh yeah, they're a lot more sparkly now. And they're green. So in doing this, I wanted to show you one more really interesting type of tool that you may choose to use at some point in your life, and that is the color jitter node. So what the color jitter node does is it will accept input, so you can use this with other nodes, with like the noise or the checker or the grid or any combination of nodes that you want. You can bring in input, but just as a super quick demonstration, I'm just going to give it an input color. I will pick that same green color that I used on the gems, and now I'm going to connect its out color over to the transmission color, which is where I had that green connected before. The difference is this: with the color jitter node, I'm going to set my type to object, and then I'm going to change the hue min and the hue max. And that means that the color jitter node is just going to pick a random color for each of the objects. So they won't all be green, they'll all be different colors. It can get a little bit hard to control, and generally you want to make small changes to start with. Big changes sometimes don't work all that well, but small changes can be fun. So now you can see I've got an orange gem, I've got a red gem, that one's still green, I think this one is also red. But just there, I didn't have to make any decisions, and I've got 4 different color gems in my lanterns, which is pretty neat. Hue will change the color, gain will change the brightness and saturation will change the saturation. You can also mess around with this seed, so if you don't like the colors that you've gotten, you can set it to seed 1, seed 2, and each one will give you a different variety of colors. So I wanted to make sure that this was a tool that you had in your toolbox. So go ahead, do something to color your gems. You're just going to give them some transmission and then some index of refraction. I like using color jitter in the transmission color. And after that, if you want to do anything like adding some scatter, which will make the gems cloudy inside, I think that's a really nice idea. Dispersion Abbe will cause them to become slightly prismatic, and low numbers make a bigger difference than high numbers. So a low dispersion Abbe value will give you a very high amount of prismatic refraction. So have some fun with your gems, and when you get back we will finish up with the cloth, and then this will be all done.